So yeah, it's Romania Black, and I couldn't wait. I usually wait for the Bleach comments, but not this week. No, since I got back from the convention and I watched episodes 27 and 28, and I was like, we just need to rip off the Band-Aid and we need to dive into these episodes because I think I know what we're getting into. And I was like, okay, we've had some new content. Kubo is Kuboing, but he's in the writer's room, so I'm like, I want to see what we get out of a storyline that I think is coming up and that I personally did not enjoy. So I'm hoping that we get some more to that and that it gets to where it's better. So that's what we're doing today. We're going to be looking at episodes 29 and 30 of Bleach Thousand Year Blood War arc, and the last two episodes were a lot of fun. I really enjoyed them. They were a great start to Core 3. The animation, the soundtrack, the soundtrack was just everything. I loved it. So I am excited to see what we get in this episode set as we are on volume 68. And Askin, our boy, Askin is doing the nice pose from 2B Hero X. Everybody see that? Did Lee Hao Lin look at this cover and go, nice? I mean, maybe. So, that post has been done in other series, though, but the coincidence is pretty stark, considering I'm also watching 2B Hero X on my channel. Go check that series out. It's a lot of fun. But, yeah, so I'm excited. We're going to do like we normally do. While I have you all here, if you've not checked out my Patreon, you definitely should. And if you would like to support me on Patreon, that'd be awesome. But if you can't, I totally understand. Make sure that you like this video, you subscribe to the channel to see me react to Bleach every Wednesday, and that you leave a comment because that helps it with the algorithm and all that fun jazz. But I want to give a special shout out and thank everybody on our Patreon because y'all are amazing. Y'all are fantastic. The comments have been so much fun. I've learned so much trivia about Bleach, and you all have been so kind to be supportive, and I greatly appreciate that. So in my videos, at least one video per week, I give a shout out to all of those in the philanthropy tier. Sometimes it's definitely more than one video a week, but I want to give a shout out to these patrons because they went above and beyond and donated a couple extra bones to your girl, and I really appreciate that. So I want to thank Sunspots as well as Zachiel, username 123, Jason N, Be Happy, Dana, Alex Cornejo, Violet Stardust, Destiny Marie, Diana Williams, Daniel Devorin, Damage 3245, as well as Eric Ichu, Fisho, Ghostly Turnip, as well as James, Jessica Cullen, as well as Lyndon, Elfreya, Murphew, Nicholas, Jack Witt, Rose Jennison, Rast, Shimoyama, Translucent Men, Zero Anti-Zero, My Chua Her, Chewy, Lady Lulz, and more Facilica, and Ian Davidson. You all are fantastic people. Thank you so much. All of my love. So yeah, very excited to dive into Bleach and get on with this episode set, so let's not waste any more time, shall we? All right, we're not gonna waste any more time. We are gonna dive into Bleach episodes 29 and 30, and we are gonna do that here in 3, 2, 1, and let's go. Turn the volume on. I was like, make sure the volume's on. Let's get into it. Oh, just start with the OP. Why not? Whenever you start with the OP, nothing crazy happens. Nothing crazy at all. No, not a bit. I love this shot of the overlay with all. I don't love that, but oh my god. Shunsui's like, if something happens to my lover, then I'll just burn this place to the ground. The moral of Bleach is don't piss off the gays. They are lethal, y'all. Don't piss off the gays and watch out for the asexuals. That is the moral of Bleach. And daddy issues. Don't piss off the gays. Watch out for the asexuals. Daddy issues. Bleach. I just summed it up in 3 phrases. There you go. You're welcome. Oh, look at all that. I'm so excited. Also, Mayuri without the helmet on and Nemu. Oh, Renji, sweetheart. Oh, that fluid just like that sword through it is so freaking good. Omelet you, Vok. Ah! Oh! 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 Urahana! Oh! Ah! Ah! Hi! I'm sorry, what? Oh my god. Urahara doesn't know? Oh my god. Oh, Rukia, honey. Oh, Ukitake, like, seeing his ribs? I hate it. Oh my god. Oh. Yeah, I forgot that it was devouring his organs. Wow. Oh. 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 I have lots of questions, but we'll get to that. Oh, the eye is so creepy. Oh. Oh, wow, the dad looks like him. He's 3. Oh. Oh. Wow, he looks like both of his parents. They did a really good job making them look like both of them. Oh. Oh, that is crazy. That is crazy. Oh. Oh, wow, and the hand crying. I love this. I love all of this. I love all of this. Oh. Oh, wow. Oh. Oh. Ooh, okay. Oh, wow. But at what price? Look at him! Oh my god! Oh. Oh. Oh! Because you get hurt! Ha! I did try to warn you. Oh my god! Oh my god. Oh, Jushiro. Oh, Jushiro love. Oh! What a precious boy! I love it. Oh my god. I love him. Oh. Hmm. Interesting. Oh, I love. Oh, Chojuro! They do Unohana. I love what threesome potential Unohana, Chojuro, and Yamamoto have together. Oh. Why is he spitting up all the blood, though? Ooh. Buddy, sure. Hmm. Hmm. Oh, could you now? Could you now? Oh, a favor. A favor. Oh, were you after his sweets, Jushiro? Were you? You took him to a sweet shop. Dude, that was a date. That's called a date. You went on a date. Uh, he's like, yes. Oh my god. He's like, I gave them to all the kids. Oh my god. My bad. Oh my god. Couldn't share one umbrella? Oh. The local deity. Just a local deity. No big deal. Okay, so it's known. Okay, good. We're explaining that. His arm. Yes, okay. Right. The eye catches it, but it's the shape of a fist. The arm. Oh. Stillness. Ooh. Okay, that explains a lot. There we go. His illness hasn't gone away because it's stagnant. Okay. Nice. Good. Oh! Oh, stop! First name basis, stop! Oh, Kyan. No, Kyan was one of a kind. You're right, they're kind of hypocritical. Him and Shunsui kind of point that out. Oh. I'd want at least two or more. Shut up. It's a front. We all know it. Well, or Shunsui is the ultimate bisexual, which could be as well. No, no. Oh. Uh-huh. And then the two of them have been through everything together. Oh. Unohana, look at you. Sure there was. Oh my god. Nice. Oh. Oh, that's so brutal. Oh my god. Oh, because he both knew. Oh. Well, that is part of the Soul King. Oh. 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 Oof. Oh. Oh. Well, girl, you're about to find out. Oh. For her to lose Kayan and Ukitake. Oh. That was the same thing that was said to Kayan. Oh my god. Oh. Oh. Oh my god! Ah! Shit. Okay. We need to turn the sound up just a hot bit. Oh my god. Oh. Oh. Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah, why would anyone want that? Why would anyone want that? Seriously. Yuri, she's like, let's distract him now. She's like, yes, I guess I'll do that. Ha! Ganju! Ganju, you're so excited to fight Yuvok of all people, the fudge! Oh, Chad, my dude. Y'all... Yeah. Well, you know, damn it! I was like, Chad and Ganju aren't gonna do shit against that. Morihime was like, I'm right here, man. I'm right here. Oh my god. Ichigo's like, well, this sucks. Oh my god. Oh. Ooh. Wow. And there's the arm. Well, you don't know everything about Chifaja? Yeah, right? Exactly. How'd you not see it coming? Why not? Yeah, that's a great question. Soyphone is asking the real questions. Yeah, exactly. Not long. Not long. Which is a rarity for Urahara. I want Aizen to have heard of it. Ugh. Oh, bitch. That was a weird transition. Oh my gosh, yes. Wow. I'm sure you can make it work. Is that not part of his ability, though? Mmm. Oh, wow. Oh. Wow. Mmm. Mmm. You know, sure. Wild. Let's get down to business. Oh my god, Chair Sama! Dude, you get to be in a throne the whole time. Oh! Oh my my god. I mean, don't you want to go see the Royal Palace? Mmm. Ah! Holy cow. Oh my gosh. Yes. Yes. That was. I'm thinking about all of the changes that I think were made from the manga to this episode. There was so much added. Oh man. Oh man. There wasn't a lot different. I'm like, you all gaslighters. Bunch of bullshit. In the best way. In the best way. Okay. I think that was. Yeah. Yeah. Oh. Ooh, nice. The betrayer. Oh, man. Ukitake, my love. Okay. So, the betrayer. Oh, man. I think I know what happens in this one, but we're just gonna get that ready here. And we're gonna start this episode out here in 3, 2, 1, and let's go. Ooh, okay. Damn, the dark arm and the betrayer. Oh. Okay. Mimi Hagi-sama. Such a phrase. That just makes it look so creepy. So creepy. Ugh. Ugh. Poor Ukitake, y'all. This is so grim. That's crazy. The graphics for Mimi Hagi are so disturbing. Yep. Ah, okay, well that makes sense. Stuff that is the Soul King himself will not, can't be seen. Well, oh, bitch! Creepy! Creepy as F! Creepy as F. The color spotted eyes are so freaking good. The one of Ukitake, yeah. And that's him there. His green eyes. Oh my god. Shunsui becoming this kind of like anti-hero morally gray force is a turn that doesn't surprise me, but also one that I'm kind of like, yeah, hell yeah. And then Aizen. Oh, sweet Aizen. Uh. Uh. Ha! Oh, just kiss, you fools! How dare they animate? How dare they animate Basby and Hoshball close enough to make out? How dare they? Also the other arm? Also the other arm? Maybe? Possibly? I don't remember that subplot. I don't remember the Nemu subplot, if I'm being honest with y'all. We'll find out together. We'll find out together. Ugh. Ah. Oh, nice. Nice. Let's get into it. That's so creepy. Stillness. Oh, it looks like worms. Well, shit. Well, I mean, it is the Soul King himself. Yes. I mean, why not? Because he's like, is someone gonna die? The arm's like, why are you asking me? Ugh. All right, come on, Ichigo. Nice! There we go. The fact that he's touching him is crazy. Yes. Oh, girl, hell yeah. Nice. Oh. Oh. Oh, man. Quit jinxing it! Stop it! Oh. 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 You didn't have to bring that up, sir. You didn't have to bring that up, sir. You didn't have to bring that up, sir. Oh, shit. Well. Damn it. Damn it. Damn it. Frustrating. Oh my god. Oh. Oh my god, him. Oh. Oh, damn it. Uryu, quit it. Quit it, Uryu. Ugh. Ugh. Oh, Chad, good job, Chad. Not fair that you can levitate. Of course there would be a divide between them. Ganju's like, I don't know him. Oh. Yeah, Ichigo's like, screw that! Yes, and to kind of save your world. Sir! Then why? Then why? But why? Ichigo's asking smart questions. No. Oh, I like this soundtrack. This is great. Of course. Of course. Of course. Or he was like, I hope the one with the gun doesn't fire at me. Sir! Y'all lost to England! I love these like chat, or he may back me up! I ain't gonna be much help in this! I mean, as... Yeah. Quit fighting like cousins! I'm assuming he can do that because of the A, the power of the A. Your shrift is standing for the asshole right now! I mean, it is badass to see Ichigo versus Uryu, like, proper. Yeah. Oh, did he not know? Did he not know Ichigo is part Quincy? Did you not know? He's not gonna kill you, dumbass. Yes. He's like, I am too, so shut up! Oh my gosh. Ah! 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 Sir! Oh. Son of a bitch. Damn it! Damn it! This little blue leaves. I hate them fighting. I hate it. Oh, that is creepy as F. I'm with Rukia. I don't like that at all. But you didn't know about Mimihagi? Ugh. Hoshwell's like, that form's not that cool. Oh. Oh. They look like little needles. They look like little syringes, which is kind of related to his dad, who's a doctor. Uryu being a tactician, this kind of makes sense for him. Oh, that was good. I like the Hoshfeld's like, I'm not helping him. I wonder if Hoshfeld was sent to check and see if he was betraying Ichigo and the others or betraying the Quincy's, and that's part of why Uryu is working with them. But it's like, to what point, you know? Chad is being such a gentleman. He's like, Orihime, I'm not gonna let you do this all by yourself, girl. I got this. Ah! I love Askin. Yeah, Lily is being really calm and not going all out in this. Look at you, Ganju! Look at you! Trap him in that quicksand. I love that. That animation was actually really good. Sinkholes are actually terrifying, so... Or he was like, yes, you were badass, sir. Of course not. Uryu's would have to be blue because it's the ultimate Quincy color and it finishes the rainbow. I bet Hoshfeld is also blue, so he's mad about that. Or he was like, protect my arms! I don't want to be like Yaruichi. Speaking of which, where is Yaruichi? Oh, that's a good shot. Oh, I hate that. The twitching is too much. I hate it. Oh, hey, there's Asani. I just now noticed her. Oh. The sad thing is Ukitake is like literally dead. Like it's using his body as a host, but he is dead. I want to see more about Uryu not realizing that Ichigo is part Quincy, but you know. Shut up! I love that he's like, I have no monologue. Uryu Yeah, he's like, I'm also Park Quincy. You still do, sir. You sure? You sure? You chose that book over what your grandfather said? Hmm. Yeah, he's dead though! Ugh. Oh my god. Askin's like, I ain't doing shit. Damn it. Ichigo's like, well, I'm glad I'm not dead from that. Oh. Ugh. You bitches! Stop fighting! You're both family, quit it! He wouldn't fire it at him. Ichigo, sweetheart. Ugh. Sulking's like, what did I do to deserve this? Ichigo's like, I've been told not to kill him. I've been told to kill him. Need y'all to leave me alone. Oh. Oh. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh, well, he aimed a little bit to the right too. Oh. Hoshfeld doesn't. Hoshfeld's like, you didn't kill him. You could have killed him, but you didn't. The betrayer. Oh, that's it? No way! No freaking way! That can't be the whole episode set. Oh my god. Are you kidding? That was it? Oh my god. Oh. Oh. Okay, there's an end credit scene, but oh my god. Oh! Oh! Oh. I have so much I want to say. I have so much I want to say. Wow, and then the Getsuga Jushiro being with the eyes in there. Interesting. Interesting indeed. And I like that the Shinigami have like the orange stones and the Quincy have the blue stones. Complementary colors, you know. Ugh, you too. Quit it. Oh. I mean, you did come to kill me, so yeah. Oh. 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 Oh my god. Oh. 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 I love that the way he's just levitating the sword. Oh. That's. Oh. Oh. Oh, bitch. Okay. Oh. Oh, bitch. Oh. Oh my god. Oh my god. We're still not through this volume. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Okay, okay, okay. Oh. Okay. Okay. I'm going to be real with you all. I have here my 5 things of the Bleach Thousand Year Blood War arc that I did not like. Especially that kind of made me sour a lot with the series and made me be like, here's what I mean by that, is that I was on the One Manga forums. I was in the trenches. I was a Bleach defender. I was a Bleach apologist. I was like, people were bitching about the plot. People were complaining about the plot holes. They were complaining about the world building. They were complaining about Squad Zero doing jack shit. They were complaining about a lot of things. And I defended Bleach for a lot of things, and I was like, now look, and I was there being like, but did you also consider this part of it? But there were 5 parts of Bleach that I really couldn't defend, and there are 5 different sections of the Thousand Year Blood War arc that I was like, yeah. I was like, I don't know what to do with that, and we tackled 2 of them in this episode set. I put an honorable mention on here. I'm going to not talk about the honorable mention because I don't know what they're going to do with that individual. And so we're going to wait and see what they end up doing. And I'll address it when we need to address it. But 2 of my big, qualms with Thousand Year Blood War arc have been addressed in this episode. And one of which they actually improved upon. And I can scratch it off my list and be like, okay, now I put a word on that part that is not confirmed yet. We'll find out next week. But I was like, okay, I'm just going to take this one word off and just kind of say that this series has redeemed Ukitake. I was like, okay, all right. Okay, in the manga, we're going to talk about volume 68. We're not through volume 68. We've been on this same volume for 4 episodes now, because they've added all of this extra stuff, which I really appreciate. It needed to be added. It needed to be said. It needed to be talked about. And there is a massive amount that they have skipped through that I was reading going, oh, we don't have that yet. Oh, we're not there yet. Oh, we're not ready to talk about that yet. I don't know if they're going to include that, what they're going to do with it. So you'll notice it's like earmarked to hell. There's a bunch that the purists that are like, just get more bookmarks. Don't you have enough bookmarks? I do, honestly. I could go grab more bookmarks. I should just use bookmarks, but there's so many moments. So we're going to be skipping around a lot in this volume. We started like a third of the way through, and the parts that we skipped over are still being skipped over. So we're going to need to just hold off and wait and talk about those things when we get to it. But we are going to talk about volume 68. It did end. The stuff that they've added, everything with Ukitake, brilliant. Mwah, perfect. Chef's kiss. Am I an Ukitake and Shunsui shipper? Why, yes. Why, yes, I am. And so, am I happy with all this additional material? Why, yes. Why, yes, I am. So, all of that stuff, amazing. Like, that helped out so much with that storyline. And we're going to talk about why. I feel like Askin's just on this cover because they're like, we need somebody to put there. I'm amazed they didn't put Ukitake on the cover. I don't know why they didn't put Ukitake on the cover. Maybe he's on volume 69. I haven't looked at volume 69 yet. Maybe he's on that cover. They should have put him on this one. I'm really surprised they didn't have Ukitake on the cover, but I guess they're trying to get a lot of the Quincy's focused in on, so whatever. But anyway, so that part there, I've circled it being like, you've redeemed yourself, Bleach. Good job. We're going to talk about in this episode set. The other part is kind of a qualm that I have still, and I'm kind of like, okay. But it is understandable why, I guess I get why it's an issue for now, but it does bother me a bit, and we're going to talk about it. I'm going to add a little extra word onto there, and see if we're going to get to those things, because maybe we are. They're adding so much stuff to the series that the things I talk about in this discussion 2 weeks from now, I could be eating my words and going back and being like, hey guys, I was wrong. So I fully anticipate doing that. And then all the stuff with Uryu, I had to go back and read the manga, and I had to go back and remind myself of a specific part. Look, I'm not going to talk about it yet, but there is a chapter in this volume 63 that they have not adapted that is very critical to Uryu and why he's doing the things that he's doing, and I'm not going to talk about it until I see if they bring it up or not, because if they bring it up, I feel like they're going to tie it in, and I think I have an idea of where they're going to tie it in, but I don't know yet, so we're just going to put Asnot's volume in the wings and have it over here waiting to see if we're going to use it later. But I am kind of torn with Uryu because the anime is handling him different than the manga. And we've talked about Uryu previously, and that in the manga, we know that the Quincy's know, specifically Hoshvalt knows, that he's betraying them and he infiltrated them to try to get vengeance on his mom's death. Like, they address it in the manga, I'm pretty sure, and Hoshvalt knows. But so when you're reading the manga with Uryu, we're going to talk about it again some more later on when we get to episode 30. You kind of know that he's a double crosser and that he's going to betray the Quincy's eventually. You just don't know how and in what capacity. Here in the anime, you aren't given that vibe, but we're going to talk about it. Hoshvalt's giving stuff away, and they added stuff with Hoshvalt that I was like, they're going to tie back to it like they do in the manga. I just know it. We just have to wait until that moment happens. But they add some things with Uryu that are really cool, but again, when you add those things, what do you take away? And how do you alter it in the adaptation? And we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about it because it's interesting. It's an interesting choice. And there are things that when they add certain parts, I'm like, but you didn't add this part and why? And so we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about it. But I'm going to quit saying that phrase and let's just get into it and actually talk about the damn episode set. So we're going to look at this here in 3, 2, 1. Everything about episode 29, I will be honest with y'all, I was dreading episode 29 because we start out with the OP, which is always a good sign when you start out with the OP. You gotta love starting out with the OP. The moment we saw the flashback with Ukitake and Shunsui, I was like, oh, this was not in the manga, because I would have remembered it because I shipped them so much. I would have remembered seeing this, and I was like, I don't think that's in the manga. So at that point, I was like, okay, I know we're in a good place. We are in for some good things happening. So, like I said, we skip over some stuff in the manga, and I feel like they're going to address it next week, so I'm not going to talk about it yet. We're going to just wait. We're just going to wait on that. There are some things I do want to talk about that are, let's see here. The stuff here, mainly of Ichigo. We're going to get to him versus Yuvok. But the one thing that's cut out that I don't think they're going to adapt is like chapter 615, which is titled All is Lost, which Kubo had some pretty dire titles to the manga at this point. I do like they represent the Soul King as this little gotcha ball, which is interesting. But we have this one page where it's Karin and Yuzu is like grabbing onto Karin while she's playing video games. And she's like, Karin, it's an earthquake. There goes the juice. She's like, I thought you were in danger. It's fine. You didn't get the game wet. And she's like, here, I'll wipe it. Yuzu, go put away the cup. She's like, it's all right, but everything's still shaking. The earthquake is kind of long. So we do get a little bit with Ichigo's 3 friends from high school. We're going to get them in the manga here in a little bit. But the Soul King just looks so insane. I will say this. I guess I should just go ahead and say one of the things I did not like about the 1,000-Year Blood War arc is the Soul King's body parts. They do a little bit already by giving Ichibe the one arm, and so Ichibe had the one arm and he blinded Yuvok with that. I feel as if, I mean, I guess it is part of the whole 900 years to 90 years to 9 years to whatever. It feels like a waste if that's what they used it for, and it just, because it ends up, I feel like it's a waste because there's no struggle. Yuvok just gets his sight back. It's part of the prophecy, whatever. It was going to happen anyway. So it feels like a waste of the arm. And then now they did redeem Ukitake. We're going to talk about it. I'm going to stop saying that phrase. We are going to discuss it, and go into further analysis with it. But they did redeem Ukitake for sure. But then my whole thing was, where are the legs? Did we talk about the legs? In the manga, I feel, if I can remember correctly, one of the legs is addressed, but then the others are not. And I'm like, There was, I remember, when the beach, when all of this stuff with the arms and legs of the Soul King came out, a lot of people were theorizing, because there's this one beach collage that's a cover spread, and Yaruichi's like posed in the front, and her leg has a tattoo on it. And so all the theorists were like, okay, her leg has that weird sun tattoo. Are they going to go back to the Soul King Reo and reveal that she has one of the legs? Is that what they're going to do? And I don't remember if they did that or not. I don't think they did it in the manga. We're going to find out when we get to those points. But I don't remember it happening, and I just felt as if, because Yuvok's going to absorb the Soul King. That is happening thanks to Uryu and the Quincy's. He's going to absorb the Soul King, and that's all well and good, because we're going to talk about it a little. I'm going to quit saying that phrase! We're going to get there. But with the take a shot every time Romania says, we're going to talk about this, and you're going to be in the hospital from alcohol poisoning before we're even like 10 minutes into this discussion. But I just felt like one of my big complaints was that the Soul King, for being built up as being the end-all, be-all, the arm, Misahage, you'd think I would get that name right, considering how many times Ukitake said it, Himihage, we're gonna get there. I'm like, so excited to talk about this with you all that I'm getting tongue-tied. You would think that since the arm is so imposing and threatening, which the animation on the arm, absolutely creepy. It looked like this mixture of maggots and smoke and bug parts, and it was like the insides of Oogie Boogie from Nightmare Before Christmas. It was so disturbing, and coming out of Ukitake, we'll get there, and everything, like when it turned and faced Yuvok and its eye just moved to look at him, that freaked me out. That was legitimately a jump scare. I was like, ooh! So I feel as if they did such a good job making the right arm, which is supposed to be the stagnant arm of the Soul King, be threatening, that it makes it almost seem like such a waste that the Soul King just sits in his little bejeweled shell and does nothing. And for being built up as this end-all be-all creator and stabilizer of the entire universe of Bleach, I just was expecting... I mean, I get it. I know people in the comments will be like, well, but he sacrificed himself to stabilize the worlds. He's a husk of himself because he gave all to save everyone. The Soul King's literally freaking Jesus and Yuvok's the Antichrist. I get it. I do. And I understand why Kubo made him that way. It just, I was expecting... You expect Yuvok to be the Soul King, which he kind of is becoming that by how he acts. But then the Soul King's just this little, like, husk of a Ken doll trapped in a jewel. And it's interesting. I guess that was one of my... It's at the bottom of my list of complaints. Ukitake was my third. Ukitake was my third biggest problem, and I was like, Ukitake was my third biggest problem, and we're fine with that. Actually, I guess he was my fourth. My fifth biggest problem, I've got my list here, and I'm really ranking them like where I stood in terms of that. I guess Ukitake would have been my fourth complaint, and then the Soul King not really doing anything would be my fifth complaint. And I only put the Soul King on there because I understand why Kubo doesn't have him do things and what he metaphorically represents in terms of the whole series. I get it. I understand it. It's just a personal preference. I'm so used to villains like Aizen, and then you have Yuvok, who's just annoying, and how he's like seemingly self-proclaimed omnipotent, that I just wanted more from the Soul King, I guess. And now he's gone. So it's like, okay, we built him up all this time. It's like the Zero Squad. You build up these characters as being these amazingly OP characters, and then they're just gone. And you're like, oh, that's all it took. Okay. That's what happens when your characters get too OP. Then it's like, then there's not much of a fight. But yeah, Ukitake and the Soul King not doing much were like my numbers 4 and 5 on my top 5. So the other 3 things that bothered me, we've not gotten to yet. So we'll address them and see what the show does with those when we get there, and if they explain them better than how they did in the manga, because those 3 are probably my biggest irritants, and we're not there yet. So I'm so glad they at least gave Ukitake a proper backstory episode, because let's get back into this. This manga gets scattered in a way. It gets scattered, and thus my thoughts get scattered. So anyway, Yuvok in the manga tells Ichigo the eyes are proof of the true Quincy. We did talk about that, and about him hacking the Soul King. We had that moment there. And so he's like, because it will be your hands that end Ryo's life. And so in the manga, Ichigo asks why the sword did that. And in the manga, Yuvok explains that my shrift is A, which is the Almighty. And we get a nice little letter there, calligraphy. I see the future of everything. I take and give all powers. I can even give you my spiritual pressure that dwells in my sword, which is why he forced Ichigo to strike at the Soul King. And my power that flowed into you called out to your blood. How can you forgive him? How can you forgive him? If Quincy blood flows in you, you must slay the Soul King. So basically establishing that every Quincy that comes from Yuvok's lineage, every child of a Quincy, they all will have a natural predisposition against Ryo and against the Soul King. So you wouldn't be able to stop it. Now, we're going to get to this next part here and talk about it in a little bit, because how Ichigo reacts to that statement. And we're going to talk about Quincy blood and all that, because that's going to come into play with Uryu and Ichigo later on. But this episode's all about Ukitake, which I'm so excited about. The manga is going to get to Ukitake and his section here in a little bit, but I feel mainly for Rukia. I really do feel for Rukia. She's lost Kaien. She's nearly watched her brother die. She lost her sister off screen. And now she's losing her captain. Like, Renji, stay close to this woman. She's lost Ichigo. Like, girl, like, Renji, you better not let this girl down. She's lost too much, right? So anyway, I want to kind of skip around to the part where Ukitake notices. There's another part that Ukitake has in this that has not been addressed by the anime yet, and I'm waiting to see when it will come. But all the stuff that comes after, it's scattered about. But we get Ukitake saying that I will take Ryo's place, and then we see the Soul King's arm for the first time. Which, I will be honest with you, when we read the manga and this was coming out chapter to chapter, I was like, what do you mean you're taking the Soul King's place? When has this been established? What is happening? What is going on? So I liked that the anime, I know the manga did build it up a little bit, but the anime like really made it known. And then we all wanted Ukitake fan service, but at what cost? At what cost? We wanted Ukitake and Unohana fan service at what cost? But Kubo does make the right arm look very creepy with like the ink blot. It looks very creepy. It looks very homunculus. Mimihage. What a name. But yeah, he's like, open the power of the eyes you placed inside of my organs. Forsake my organs and open your eyes. Yeah, the moment he started chanting that way, it's like, our dude was gonna die. So yeah, and that's when he shows up. And then we cut to chapter 616, which is Mimihagi. Mimihagi, and we get Ukitake's backstory. Which, honestly, the backstory in the manga is 1 chapter. That's it. I was so mad when I read the manga, because I was like, what do you mean this is all we get? What do you mean you're dumping this exposition and then just running away with it? What do you mean the next time we're going to see him is going to be when he's dying? What? No. So I was very upset because I've liked Ukitake throughout the entire series, and people have talked about like Ukitake having the white hair and being sickly. Like everyone's known from the start. This did such a good job of expanding on the manga. This episode did. It really did. So we saw this. We don't see his parents in the manga. We just see Ukitake as a little kid with the foaming at the mouth, which they had show up in here. I will say, they did a really good job of making his parents, like him, look like a mixture of both of his parents. Like the dad, like when you look at the dad that way, you can see Ukitake in the father's face. And then you can see in the side profile, like the eyebrows and the way the face is sharp. You can see that in his dad. But then when you go to like him putting his hand up against the mom's face, when you see that, like you can see, oh, where's the picture? Yeah, like you can also see how he looks like her as well. So he's a really good mixture of his parents, and they did a great job of showing that. So we establish in the manga that he got, I also like the anime too, because in the manga, he says that when he was 3, he got a case of consumption. I like that the anime kind of lends towards, they don't outright say it, but the anime sort of makes it seem like he was born sickly, and by 3, it was just at the point where, okay, you've held on this long and now your time has come. Whereas here, it seems like he got suddenly sick in the manga, and I was like, oh, this makes it seem more like, okay, the parents are at their last straw. They're praying to his deity because they don't know anything else to do. And he kind of says, also, the manga clarifies that Ukitake knows who Mimihagi is. He didn't know what kamikaze was. He didn't know what kamikake was. He didn't know what the process of sacrificing your organs to the god was. He had never heard of that, but he had heard of Mimihagi. So it's like, he's like, I've just heard the name of Mimihagi, a god worshipped on the outskirts of the East Rakongai. And Ukitake clarifies, saying an indigenous heteromorphic cyclopean god worshipped in the Sakehoni of East Rukongai 76th district, to be precise. He says, they say divine protection is brought to those who offer everything of themselves besides their eye. I thought that was interesting. So the eye is not sacrificed, which is interesting because we have the eye of the arm. You have Yuvok and the whole symbolism with all the eyes upon him, the Soul King's eyes, Uryu's eyes. Like, there's a lot of eyeball symbolism in this. And the god is said to be the enshrined right arm of Reo that fell from the heavens long ago. And they show that. And Uruhara's like, oh, now we're connecting some dots. He's like, my parents were superstitious people, and soon after the doctor gave up on me, they took me to Mimihagi's shrine and began a prayer to offer my lungs. Thanks to that, I lived. I even got well enough to serve the Serite as a soul reaper. And then he like coughs up some blood, and Rukia shouts out Captain, and he tells her to be quiet. So that one panel with that one phrase, I got strong enough to serve as a soul reaper in the Serite, they just spent half this episode on, and I could not be happier. I loved it. I also love this scene. Like, to be a kid dying and then just show up in this afterlife, and again, this is the same body of water that Yuvok was in, and the same body of water where Ichibe found all the different body parts of the Soul King, and here it is, the arm, the right arm, and Ukitake as a kid, like, confronting it, which is crazy. And I love it. I love it so much. And when he, like, takes the tears from Mimihagi and drinks the tears, and that lets him into his body, and his body, like, expands and blows up, and then, like, it is body horror in the best way. It was so creepy and so, like, well executed. I loved it. I love that entire scene. It's so good. It's so freaking good. And then showing him looking like a version of the right arm, like another, like with the hands out instead of the fingers being clenched. The black one version is like the hands are out. It's so visually interesting and it just connects so well. And you're like, okay, so this is how it happened. The animation and seeing his hair black for a second, like his hair is black for a moment and then it goes back to the way he was. Now, my thing was always, and I kind of talked about it here until they clarified, because they don't clarify it in the chapter. In the manga, they don't clarify it, but the whole thing, he's like, Mimihagi's power had its teeth in my lungs. The ritual spread to that power to my organs, and it's called Kamikake. All my organs belong to Mimihagi now. By offering them all, I've become his dwelling. I am Reo's right arm itself now. And you see like it snake up on him and it's all these little pieces. Now, those little pieces are going to come to play in the next episode set, but I thought that was interesting. And then Rukia's like, did you know that this would happen? And he's like, nothing would please me more than to sacrifice this life I once lost for the court guards. And then he basically does the ritual the same way as it happens in the anime. But here's the thing. In the manga, one of the biggest arguments that a lot of people were making is they're like, you were possessed by the body of the supreme deity of this world's universe. Why are you still sickly? That was the biggest complaint, is people were being like, well, why is he still sickly? He has like a deity inside of him. Why? And explain, show. And the manga never explained it. The manga didn't explain it. And that was one of my biggest like irks from this final arc, is I'm like, you introduce this very large plot point, but you don't explain it. And then you just kill off a character, and it felt incomplete. And that made a lot of Bleach fans very upset. Here in the anime, they explain it finally. And I'm like, oh my God, thank you. I was like, thank God. They finally explained it. So the Dark Arm, we get the title card. And we get Ukitake sitting up and his family's like, oh my God, you lived. Thank goodness. Mimihagi saved my life. We get to see him like growing up in the Rukongai and him being an absolute sweetheart with his little pigtail. We see this guy trying to beat up an old lady and she beats him right back. And then Ukitake, I love that he goes to grab Ukitake and he tries to like punch him. And instead he tries to shove him and he grabs his hand instead to shake it. Which again, the whole thing with the hands. He grabs his hand with the left hand, though. I think it would have been interesting if he grabbed it with the right hand and twisted it that way. That would have been good, but he grabs it with the left. Maybe that was meant anyway. But yeah, he waves with the right. I got one hand in my pocket. But yeah, so you're like, well, why is he still sick? And then we find out, as Shunsui is going to Muken to see Aizen, of course he is. He's like, don't overdo yourself, Ukitake. That transition from Shunsui being the old man, Squad 1, daddy, Shunsui, to being like his younger self was so good. It was perfect. But yeah, we get to see them basically trying out for the Soul Reaper Society, for the Serete, and you have Yamamoto. I find it interesting that Chojiro's in the middle, and then Unohana is there because she's the Kenpachi, so of course she's there. She's like one of the eldest ones that's been with Yamamoto since the beginning. But yeah, I love that they explain that the reason why he's still sick is because the right arm of the Soul King is about stillness. The left arm is about advancement. The right arm is about stillness. And it stagnates and keeps things as they are. And I'm like, that's genius. So yes. And it also makes perfect sense when they use the right arm to keep the Soul King pieces together so that he doesn't fall apart. I'm like, okay. I'm like, that's what I was waiting on, is that explanation of why has Ukitake still been sick? Well, his illness didn't go anywhere. The consumption just stayed stagnant, but he was able to keep living. And for that moment. And just, look, if you don't ship Shunsui with Ukitake, I understand. Your ships are valid. Shunsui is, quite frankly, maybe the ultimate bisexual. At least for Bleach. But you cannot tell me that there was not something. Also, just a little fun note, young Shunsui looks a lot like Stark, which is funny that they fought. I'm just pointing that out there. But yeah, I love all of this. Like, I love the extra shots of them fighting together. And then I love these, like, they both kind of in a draw. He's like, not bad, buddy. He's like, no mercy, even against a sick person. They introduce each other. And he's like, I could always feel you staring at me during class. I'm like, well, you're not subtle. I'm like, Ukitake's staring at you in class because he respects you and they're just friends. Sure, Jan. But yeah, the truth is I have a huge favor to ask of you. And so he's like, oh, yeah. And the moment he's like, you were after my Monaca sweets, I'm like, oh, he was after your Monaca sweets. He was after a lot more than your Monaca sweets, but okay. And then when he finds out, Ukitake is so pure, when he finds out there's alcohol in him, and he's like, oh shit, I got those for the little kids. It's like, oh. He's like, the Monaca sweets here use sake less. And he's like, yes, that's a huge problem. I told all the Rukongai kids I would bring them. Big brother. You brought us the Monaca. Are they all his siblings? Maybe they're just all figurative siblings, like not real siblings. But then like the two of them walking with the umbrellas, like freaking Hwa-Chong and Shilian through the forest together. If they just need to be red, make them red umbrellas and it'll be perfect. Like, and then it's snowing. And I mean, look, you got sweets from the man. You went on a date to get his sweets. You walked together through the forest with your umbrellas. And then you took him to your hometown to the shrine. You basically just did all that. You might as well have just proposed to him. Like, what else was there left to do? Did he meet the parents while he was there? He's like the local deity. And so when he explains, you know, Shunsui gives out the vibes that he's known a lot more about the inner circle and inner workings of the Soul Society and all the gossip, which I think Shinsui's from nobility. Am I right in saying that? I think Shinsui's from like a decent family in the Serite. He's not like from the Rukongai like Rukia and Ukitake are. He's from like the more posh parts, if I'm remembering correctly, maybe. From what we know, from what I've read from like a fact book or something. I could be wrong on that. You all will tell me down below if I'm wrong about that. But yeah, so he knows a little bit of the inner workings with the Soul King. And so then they talk about the right arm and how it's about stillness. It's about many blessings. Now, the left arm, if it controls advancement, and if Ichibe used that against Yuvok eyes, does that fit? Does that work in that? I don't know. He's like, my illness hasn't gone away. He's like, sorry, I'm not going to give up on joining the court guards. And so then we have him standing before Central 46. And I love this scene too. Like they added this scene of him requesting there not be another lieutenant after Kayan died. And I mean, again, these are all things that the fandom kind of guessed around the time that we were reading, but it's nice to see it like animated in confirmation that he doesn't want another lieutenant. Like, I love that. And I love that you also have Shunsui like commiserating with him, being like, hey, I'm sorry that you lost Kayan and that you don't want to replace him. But I also like that both of them kind of play Central 46 for the like the douche lords that they are. They both are like, well, you said that it was our job, so, and what do you care if we die? You'll just get a new captain, so why does it matter? Like, they just play in their faces, and I'm all about it. But yeah, and so then, of course, Shunsui's like, well, you know, I'd have several other lieutenants, you know, granted if they were cute girls. I'm like, sir, I don't know if you're just the most bisexual or if you are really covering for how you really are and you're really trying to pull one over. I don't know. It wasn't your time, that's all. Which is such foreshadowing for what's to come. And then they have the Monaca, and then it cuts to Yamamoto's death. And man, the two parts to me that stuck out were, I mean, of course, Shunsui's like, well, drinking is always great, especially when you're dumped by girls. I'm like, are you dumped by girls because you're not with the right one? I'm not. Anyway, my two favorite parts of this scene are when Shunsui asks to be alone. Also, I like Unohana is just being like, well, I'm here and I'm a woman and I have your full attention. And he's like, no, you're too scary. But he's like, I'd like to be alone. Like, I love that scene because Shunsui viewed Yamamoto as a father figure. So him wanting to be alone with the sword to kind of have this moment to grieve Yamamoto is really powerful. But then they gave us this moment. Because Unohana is basically saying, farewell, Captain Ukitake. She's like, I'm about to go fight Kenpachi and I'm going to die. because I have to die in order for him to awaken his abilities. And the way that she just looks there with that look on her face as the Kenpachi, she's like, I know what I have to go do, and I'm in like serious battle mode. But then what got me is when he said, we'll see each other soon. He was inferring being like, look, I'm going to die too. You're sacrificing yourself to bring Kenpachi to power. I'm going to sacrifice myself probably to save the Soul King. So we're both going to die soon and see each other. We'll see. He's like, I'll see you in hell. It's basically what he just told her. Love it. Love everything about this. Every added scene they did of Ukitake, brilliant. Loved it. Needed it. And it works because it's all a flashback. What makes, like, if you're going to add all these extra scenes, they have to connect to the source material. And if you're not going to drastically change the source material and it be canon, and you're trying to make it still be fluid and congruous with what is already there, then it has to match up. And it works in episode 29 with Ukitake because it's all done through flashback. So it's all just, flashbacks are just added exposition. They're just added character work, but they're not involved with the present. So nothing in the present changes. We just get more backstory and exposition that doesn't impact what's going on currently. And it works so well in this. It's chef's kiss times 1,000. I freaking love it. Yep, freaking love it. So yeah, Mimihagi is terrifying. Absolutely terrifying. And they went above and beyond the creep factor in this. They went above and beyond, because when they had him like scream and let out Mimihagi, when they like do that moment there, and they're not going to show us yet. I guess we're going to get back to it. But yeah, it completely takes him over. Like when it just starts to like envelop his entire body, because in the manga, I'm going to skip around just a hot second. In the manga, it does not, I'm going to show you. In the manga, it's right there. I don't know if you all can see that. It doesn't cover anything but like his face, but there's not his shoulders covered or anything. In the anime, his like whole body is covered in like the remnants, and it feels like tar has been dropped over him. And it gave me vibes of watching like Viserys in Game of Thrones when like the gold is dumped. Just the moment it happens, the moment he lets Mimikage out, the moment the right arm is released, it's like he's dead. Like his organs are being taken over by it. They've been taken over. The entire entity controls him now. It's like the moment he let that happen, he's dead. They just don't know it yet. And the animation of his arms just twitching as it's like when you crush an insect and you're like pulling at the tendons and it's just twitching because that's just like a nerve jerk. So damn good. So damn good. But yeah, so then we go to Mugen. And he's like, it's shaking. You can feel it even down here. The end is nearing for the Soul Society. You hear me, don't you? This is as far as we innocent folks can go. We can't get to the bottom of that darkness. But I know you can hear my voice. Answer Sosuke Aizen. So they did have him. I thought that him being like Neon Genesis style on the block was a new thing, but no, it's added. It's in there. I'm glad you all didn't correct me, that you didn't let me get spoiled with that. It's in there. I also like that the arm is being shown holding the pill back together that Yuvok had Ichigo cut. Chapter 617 is called Return of the God. Of course it is. Because it's Aizen. Yeah, this whole stuff with Ukitake is so creepy. So yeah, and Yuvok is like, what the hell is that? And then we have the Soul King holding it together. Love that. And then its eyes pop out, which is so creepy. The fact that it doesn't reflect on my eye. You are Rayo. Why? So even parts of the Soul King knew. Why is Rayo's own right arm getting in the way? Are you suddenly feeling an attachment to the Soul Society you've been protecting? Answer me, Rayo. That is such a line. Because two there, he's like, why is Rayo's own arm getting in the way? I'm like, Yuvok, you just cut him in half. Why wouldn't he be trying to save himself? Like, are you serious? Like, for real, sir? And then when he says, suddenly feeling an attachment to the Soul Society you've been protecting, Well, it's funny because anybody would look at that sentence and go, yes, if you're protecting something, you have an attachment to it. So, duh. But the thing is, for Yuvok, he doesn't know what attachment is. Everything that has been given to him, everything he's given out, he's just taken back. But there's not been that attachment, that compassion or attachment or sympathy or connection to what he's taken back. He's kind of feigned it. Like with Asnod, he feigned it, but did he really have that attachment? Or was he just attached to their loyalty and the fact that they were useful? Did he have an attachment to them as a person? That is debatable. But when he's like, you've been protecting the Soul Society, why are you attached to it? It's like, well, why wouldn't he be? He's protected it. Clearly. I think Yuvok just has a lot of daddy issues and doesn't know why the Soul King is more intent on protecting the Soul Society than his own son, which is a valid question that should be answered, and I'm assuming by the end of the series it will be, but we'll just have to see. But yeah, so Aizen goes up to, Aizen is confronted by Shunsui, and then this part gets added here. So this part was added that was a little bit different. We're going to talk about it. And there is a part that is cut from here after Soy Phone talks, so we're going to skip that. Everything is skipped around in this. Everything is. So, trying to think of how have we missed this? So, let's just go back a little bit. Okay, yeah, you have a reason to fight me. Okay, so, yep, okay. So we get to this part here. I've got to skip back around. And, yeah. I like the Shinji in this manga is like, what's Ichigo doing? What's Squad Zero doing? And Urahara's like, I don't want to believe this, but Squad Zero was wiped out. And Mr. Kurosaki didn't make it in time. That seems like the logical answer for what is certain is if we don't do nothing, the Serite, the Soul Society, Huecamuno, and the world of the living will cease to exist. So, in the actual, I'm going to try to get this right. I'm going to put another little bookmark here because we're skipping around this volume. In the actual manga, Ichigo just slaps, Yuvok's hand away, and we don't get the stuff with the blood vein that we do in the anime, which I think that's much better. I like the Ichigo forces the blood back down and then grabs his hand. I love that. That worked out really good. We see it happen in the manga, but we don't see the blood vein disappear. I think it looks great in the anime. But we do get Yoruichi trying to tell Orihime to save the Soul King. I honestly think that it worked better in the manga because she does it really quickly, and it's just kind of the lead up is a little bit better. And that's when it cuts from that happening to Renji being like, how are we going to save the Soul Society? And that's when Ukitake decides to step in. Now, in the manga, at the start of chapter 16, which was the Mimihagi chapter, Yuvok is like, Reo can no longer be resurrected because he's been cut. And then we see the stuff with the earthquake that Ichigo's friends from high school dealt with. And then we saw the part where the Quincy realized they're like, is it His Majesty's wish to crush us along with the Soul Society? There's a shot of Basby, which I think is going to be very instrumental for later on in this season. There's a shot of Basby where he's just like, Hoshfalt, you like that look on his face. It is a look that says, Hoshfalt, you bitch, I thought we were something. I thought you and I were going all the way. Why'd you leave me down here? And now you're telling me you're going to crush me? Excusez-moi? like that's what that look says, which could be influencing him later on. So I'm going to put a pin in that because we may come back to that page. They may reference that later. We may talk about it next week. I have so many earmarks in this volume. This volume is getting brutalized, y'all. But in any case, they add some things that are not in the in the manga. So I want to go back to that. So we're going to skip this part here as he notices Reo. We're going to skip this part here. And then we have Soifon saying the truth that, Ukitake, this is only going to last as long as Ukitake is alive. So, Let's get this right here. We're going to pause this because something that Ukitake says here has not been addressed either. So I'm going to be curious to see if they talk about it next week. This series is getting crazy with the adaptation. I'm like trying to keep track of what things have been changed and everything. So just to point out, in the manga, Chad and Yoruichi do not come at Yuvok. I was like, what? Which I'm like, and Ganju attacking Yuvok of all people. I'm like, excuse me? No. I felt like they didn't need to do that. I felt like they should have just had Orihime immediately try to heal him and it fail, than to show us like having Yoruichi and Chad and Ganju trying to go at Yuvok, because you knew that wasn't going to work. That wasn't going to be a thing. And it just felt like it was unnecessary. And that's when Ganju's like, is there anything we can do? I was like, well, you've been relegated to side characters, my friend. But yeah, that's when the Soul King gets saved by the arm. And apparently anything connected to the Soul King can potentially alter the future in a way that Yuvok cannot see. I feel like establishing that with Mimihage is important, because Mimihage is a part of the Soul King, and he's a piece that Yuvok could not predict. And Ichigo has gone through that training phase, the Sandra phase, and he was connected to the Soul King for a brief moment because he saw the memories, his eyes did the weird thing. So I feel like since Ichigo has been connected, does that mean that Ichigo can act in a way that Yuvok cannot predict? Because he's connected to the Soul King, and Yuvok may or may not know that. Or if Yuvok does know that, he doesn't realize the implications that Ichigo can, in fact, maybe act outside of what his eyes are capable of doing. I guess we'll find out. I don't want to know if I'm right on that or not, but we're going to see. But this whole thing, it just looks like bugs and stuff crawling down his body. It looks like the opposite of Asnot's ability. No, that is creepy stuff, my friends. So yeah, Soiphone says this. Soiphone is saying what everybody else is thinking internally. She's like, look, he's not going to be able to stay the Soul King for long, so when his body gives out, then we're screwed. And everybody's like, Soiphone, he's right here. His corpse is barely cold. And she's like, I'm just saying. And Urahara's like, we've got to figure out what to do. It's interesting to see Urahara in this chapter set be kind of like out of his element and not exactly know how to handle the situation. Because usually Urahara is like 3 steps ahead of everybody, kind of like Aizen. And here to see him sort of struggle is intriguing. We have to find a way to stabilize while Mr. Ukitake is still standing in for the Soul King. So yeah, everyone is gathered here, and Yoruichi's brother asks if they can use a certain thing, and he's like, we don't have enough spiritual pressure, so I'm assuming that'll get talked about next week. But yeah, man, Ukitake, I always was like, Shunsui having all the seals, like, you couldn't, like, 3 is a crazy amount. What's interesting is he undoes 1 so that Aizen can talk. And then Aizen's just standing there. Now, I wondered at first, I was like, is Aizen standing there just like is it just the reaction of a Shikai? Is it just an illusion in front of Shunsui? Or is he actually able to move? He can get in the chair. They make him get in the chair and not get out of it. So I cannot believe that Chair Sama is happening. I forgot that this was a thing. Because when we saw him like Neon Genesis style, nailed to the cross, I was like, oh, that's going to be a thing now. I forgot that Chair Sama was legitimately canon in the manga. I was like, oh. So again, there's some parts that I have to skip over because they've not been addressed yet by the anime, and I'm hoping they're addressed next week so I can take these earmarks out. I hope that happens next week. But then, yeah, we get here, how did he remove the other seals? And then Aizen, what's the matter? You have 2 more keys you can use, don't you? Love it. Love it. So chapter 618 is the Dark Arm, which the episode title is given to. And so he takes out his left eye, again, the eyes, y'all, and his ankle. He's like, if you want out of here, we've procured you a special chair, sir. It kind of is funny in an ironic way because Shunsui shows up and he's like, here's your throne. Isn't that what you wanted? Isn't that what you always wanted, was your own throne? Now we're giving it to you. Also, this part was included in the manga, just so you all are aware. He gives him the throne. And then he's like, such gross carelessness. My spiritual pressure is too high for you to come near me. I like that they did the little part where they showed the, like, this is pretty gruesome in the manga, but they show, like, the blood coming around his eye, and he has, like, the barrier protecting him. Like, Gojo would be envious of his ability. And then Shunsui put one of the keys to Mugen inside his heart. Like, literally put it inside his heart. How he did that, we don't know. We don't need to know. But he's put it there, so if he dies, Aizen's pretty much going to be stuck there. So, or he's going to be stuck in Mugen. Okay, great. And basically, he's like, if you kill me, you can't get out. But if you come with me, then we'll talk. Interesting indeed. So yeah, and then he's like, Shunsui's like, don't you want to come out and smell the fresh air? And Aizen's like, yeah, I mean, I would like to get out of this prison. It's pretty dark and boring down here, but he's like, breathe the air. You like, the pathetic air of the Soul Society about to be crushed by Yuvok. Really? Is that what I want? That's such a visual. The idea of like the sky being pierced. Ugh. I have honestly, if I'm being for real with you all, I've forgotten what Aizen does at this part of the story. I have forgotten. I knew Shunsui went and talked to him and got him out, which was such a surreal turning point, but I have forgotten what Aizen does. So it's gonna be interesting to see that next week, if we see it next week. So yeah, anyway, that's this episode, and we get the ED, and that's pretty much all, and then we need to go to the Betrayer. The Betrayer, indeed. So, episode 30 is called The Betrayer, and we start out pretty much with a little bit of a recap, which was fine. It was definitely worth it to see the arm again of the Soul King, because it's such a creepy visual. And when he said answer me, I'm sorry, but when he said that and the Soul King turned around and looked at him, that was a jump scare. That freaked me out. I was like, are you kidding? That was terrifying. That visual is absolutely terrifying. Absolutely terrifying. It just is. It's so creepy. So, okay. In that moment, I guess we're going to get to the OP, aren't we? Yes, we're going to get to the OP. For the record, I like the OP a lot. I have no issues with it. The song is really good. Is it better than the second Kuro OP? I don't know. Y'all. So, okay, let's get back into this episode. Yeah, that is a creepy visual of the eye just staring at him, like, with such disappointment. Like, you're killing your own father. Like, dude. So, in the manga, we have Ichigo shoving Yuvok away, and it happens there. But I thought that the anime did a good job of making the blood vein, like him overcoming it and then shoving the arm away. I thought that was well done. And this is when Yoruichi, they did an excellent job of animating Yoruichi trying to save the Soul King with her move. That part was really well done. So yeah, in this moment, he's like, I never imagined you all would stand in my way. And Yoruichi's like, so is that the right arm of the Soul King? And then Ichigo, blocks him there. That was great. Yoruichi does the whole thing where she's trying to protect the Soul King and get the armor around him. We'll preserve him like this. And so, at this point, Yuvok questions Ichigo, being like, it was you who killed Ryo. The Quincy blood in you should not tolerate Ryo's existence. You should have no reason to stop me. And he's like, I came here to stop you. I do get a little frustrated that, I mean, with Yuvok, I understand why he doesn't get it, because he's so full of himself and he can't see beyond what he has control over. He can't see that Ichigo is, in fact, yes, part Quincy because of his mom, but he can't see that the Soul Reaper side of him would have any effect as well. And it's I don't know if ironic is the right word for it, but Yuvok goes on and on and on in monologues about how Ichigo is part Hollow and part Soul Reaper and part Quincy, and because he foresaw all of those things happening, Ichigo was able to, like, do all these things and kill the Soul King. But then he's like, you have Quincy blood, why aren't you mad at the Soul King? And Ichigo's over here like, you just said I have all these other parts in me, why would I be? So it's like, I feel like sometimes I just want to, like, get a megaphone out and be like, you answered your own question, So Then I do love when Ichigo uses his new attack, and him fighting against Yuvok. I will never turn away scenes like that. They're great. But yeah, he's like, the future for Soul never came. And so then he says, out of my way, Ichigo, and he's like, I told you, I'm going to stop you so I can protect everything. I came here to protect the Soul Society, the world of living, Hueco Mundo. And then, Yuvok's like, protect it all. That's arrogance. You think nobody but you can do that? And again, Ichigo says, even if it's somebody besides me, that's not a reason for me not to. He's basically like, look, anybody can come and protect the Soul Society. I'm not saying I'm doing it alone. Everyone's welcome to chip in. But he's like, I'm not, just because I can't do it all myself doesn't mean I'm not going to try. And I love Ichigo for that. I love that Ichigo's like, yeah, it's arrogance, but you know what? What else am I going to do? He's like, it may be a losing battle that I'm fighting, but I'm still going to fight it. And that's the thing. I feel like Yuvok does not believe that he should fight any battle he can't win. I think that he's like, if he can't be in control and win it, what's the point? So he avoids all of that. Whereas Ichigo's like, okay, if I lose, I'm just going to keep trying. So whatever. Also, he does Getsuga Tensho, whereas in the anime, he does the new Juni show. So he's like, but then this part is cut out of the anime, and I get kind of mad at it. I get kind of mad that they cut this monologue out and they just go straight to the whole inability to kill. I get mad that they cut this part of the monologue out because this was really good. Ichigo says, you told me I have your blood in you. You told me I have your blood in me, but so what? That's not going to make me do what you want me to do. And Yuvok says, I can't make you do what I want. Don't make me laugh. Whether or not you'll do as I wish is up to these eyes of mine. So Ichigo's like, look, I may have Quincy blood in me, but I'm not going to like do whatever you want. And Yuvok's like, yes, you will. And he's like, at that point, he says, I've never once thought of making you do what I want. Do you know why? Because I don't have to. Your will is connected to mine. He's like, I'm saying you've always been fighting for me. Your battles that you fought once you awakened as a soul reaper were to elevate your power. That elevated power was to defeat Aizen Sosuke. And regaining the power you lost from defeating Aizen Sosuke was to take Ryo's life in front of my eyes. And I like that Yoruichi's like, that's nonsense. And he's like, it is not nonsense. And he's like, without even having to think, reflected in my eyes is a side of you fighting for me. No matter what you think, every single thing you do is done for my gain. All because we have the same blood flowing through us. And Ichigo tells him to shut up. And he's like, the Quincy blood makes no difference. I'm here to tell you to stop. And he's like, stop? When am I? Aren't I your foe? The fact you cannot say kill against the man who killed your mother is your weakness. And that's when Uryu steps in, because Ichigo gets really pissed at that statement, which pot calling the kettle black with Uryu. We're going to talk about it. But here's my thing with Ichigo, and Yuvok makes this point of saying, like, Yuvok makes this point of saying that you can't kill me, so doesn't that mean that you're doing everything because it's connected to my will? And it does go back to Ichibei saying, Ichibei was like, you don't have to kill him, you just have to stop him. But honestly, except when the Hollow was in charge of Ichigo during like the Ulquiorra fight. During the Ulquiorra fight where the Hollow inside of him took over and Ichigo essentially killed Ulquiorra. Aside from that, Ichigo's never killed anybody. Not any major characters. Like, he's killed Hollows and he's like exterminated Hollows and he's taken Arrancar down. But, he's not killed anybody. And so, like, even Aizen, he defeated Aizen, but he didn't kill him. He defeated Grimmjow, but he didn't kill him. He defeated Kenpachi, defeated Byakuya, didn't kill him. Everyone he's gone up against, he's defeated, but he hasn't killed. And Yuvok making it a statement like, oh, because you can't kill me, that's because of my will. I'm like, no, it's because of Ichigo's character. And it frustrates me that that's not addressed any clearer in the manga and the anime, because I'm like, no, that's just Ichigo. Ichigo's like anime Batman. He doesn't kill people. He just defeats you. He even, like, with Candace Catnip, he told her to dodge the nuke. Like, You know? So whenever Yuvok says it, it feels like such bullshit because it doesn't feel like it has any truth to it. And I'm like, if I were Ichigo, I wouldn't listen. And he's like, I killed your mother, so shouldn't you want to kill me? And Ichigo's like, well, no, because I'm just trying to stop you. And maybe he's right. And Ichigo can't kill him because of the Quincy blood. Maybe that's part of it. But there's a chapter in volume 63 where we find out that Ichigo should not be killing Yuvok and should not be trying to kill him. And then it's like, we're not there yet. Maybe it'll get brought up. But anyway, that's when Uryu fires the arrow and messes up everything. And I want to talk about the differences between the anime and the manga with Uryu because I think they are important to note. In the manga, I will be honest, I'm kind of torn with y'all because the manga and the anime handle these scenes very differently and for different reasons. In the manga, Uryu looks very sad to be doing this. He does it, but you as the reader, like the way that his hand is positioned, the way that his face is positioned, it gives off the vibes of, I'm doing this because I have to, because I'm trying to deceive them. And I'm going along with the plan because I have to make you all believe that I'm going along with the Quincy's, even though I'm not. You guys all know that I'm not, but I'm having to convince you because it's part of this plan and I have other ulterior things. Here's the thing. You feel bad for Uryu in the manga because you understand from this chapter they've not shown us in the anime, you understand why Uryu is acting the way that he is. This chapter that they have not animated and shown to us explains everything surrounding why Uryu is acting the way he's doing in this episode, but they've not animated it, so I can't talk about it yet. So it's like, grr. But it makes you feel bad for him. And in all honesty, the manga makes Ichigo look so much more betrayed. Ichigo just looks so distraught that Uryu is doing this. He's just like, Uryu, you need to stop. And then Yuvok throws them all away. And, Yaruichi tries to do like the melting balls. Girl tries to use these damn melting balls that she's got, just hanging around. These are, she tries to use her and Urahara's anal beads to like fight against Yuvok. And that doesn't work. I was trying to think during the reaction what those look like. And I was like, oh my God, they're anal beads. But, and then we have the the conservative police. Oh, the conservative police. Parkinja. I can't call, he's just Park. We're going to call him Park. Old P Park. P Park, he shows up. He's like, there will be no horseplay around here. He does, like, crushing her arm is grisly. The manga and the anime both adapted that really, really well. But yeah, so then in this, Yuvok's like, well done, Uryu, as Yaruichi gets thrown off, which sucks. And then that's when Uryu is firing his arrows. And that's when Yuvok goes to rip out the Soul King's arm. And in chapter 619, which is called The Betrayer, which is what this episode is named after, the way that Ichigo and Uryu's faces are, like, Ichigo's pissed. He's like, what do you think you're doing? And Uryu is just like, Ichigo. Like, Uryu looks so... In the manga, Uryu looks like he doesn't want to do this. He doesn't want to betray Ichigo. He doesn't want to do this. He's like, I've got to do it to keep up appearances. I can't show you my hand yet, Ichigo, but I hate doing this. I'm so sorry. Like, you feel this forced betrayal, and you feel that Uryu hates doing this. In the anime, it kind of Uryu's kind of soulless a little bit. Like, you don't get those vibes at all. And so it's interesting because then they have to add these scenes, and he's like, I said, what do you think that you're doing? And he's like, don't move, any of you. Now, he does say that, and because chapter 620 is where do you stand? And he says, all of you don't move. Take one step and I'll shoot. But even in Uryu's like emotional expressions during chapter 620, you just get the feeling like he doesn't want to do this, but he has to because of reasons. And you still empathize with Uryu a little bit. You're like, okay, he's doing this for a reason. We don't know what his plan is, but there's a reason why he's doing this, and it sucks. But here in the anime, you don't get those same emotions. He really does look like he's trying to kill them, which is kind of like, on the one hand, you're like, well, but Uryu, we know that you're a double crosser. You're not fooling anybody, but the anime is really trying its hardest to make you think that he's a bad guy. They're really trying to make you think he's a betrayer. And it's like, we know, though. He's like, I said I would shoot. And then Ichigo's like, don't you know why we're here? And he's like, yes, to stop your majesty. I'm not going to let you. He's like, don't you know if we don't stop in the Soul Society, everything's all going to disappear. And he's like, do you think I'm here unaware of that? And so, yeah, I feel like the anime, because they add all this other content with them having to fight, which is cool. Don't get me wrong. It's impressive to see Uryu and Ichigo actually like fight when they're powered up. That part's really cool. We're going to talk about it a little more. But in the manga, it's just so expressive. And you can feel Uryu's like his sadness. You can feel his angst. You can feel how he hates having to do this, but he can't explain it to Ichigo. He can't tell him what this is about. He's like, you just have to, he can't say, trust me, I've got a plan. He can't say that. So you could just feel how sad he is. And Ichigo's so distraught because he doesn't understand. And he's like, what are you still doing over there? And he's like, can't you tell? It's because I'm a Quincy. And then they all show up and our three here gang up together. I love the Ganju's like, you got my back, right? But yeah, and Ichigo's just kind of like, what do you mean you're still a Quincy? So then we get, he's like, why are you fighting? Why are you still on their side? And he's like, because I'm a Quincy. And again, I don't care for the adaptation of this scene because look at how he looks in the manga. Like, he's, like, his eyes look tired. He looks like he hasn't slept. He's like, I'm doing this because I'm a Quincy. And it just, you just know that there's something behind the surface that Uryu can't talk about in the manga version. In the anime version, he's like, I'm doing it because I'm a Quincy. And it's like, but where's the emotion? Where's the emotion on your face? Where is all of that? And I feel like it was a little lost in translation in terms of that. So anyway, in the midst of that, we have the other Quincy show up. But, well, before they have Uryu and Ichigo fighting more. And that's when the others show up. And they're like, what's this? I figured we'd find a massive army, but all I see are foot soldiers. And, like Chad and them are like, we're an army by ourselves. He's like, let's do this, Orihime and Chad. We don't get that in the manga. That Ganju speaking up is pretty hilarious in context. So, but here's the thing. In the manga, one thing that they do well that they completely ignore in the anime adaptation is that when the Miracle, when he gets up there, Valkyrie gets up there, he says, I was told somebody was trying to stop His Majesty, so I figured it'd be a massive army, but it was just a bunch of foot soldiers. Uryu says, I don't need any assistance. So, and then he says the Schutzstaffel. Like, he does that. He's like, all I have to do is make them fall. And in that moment, that becomes clear to the audience that Uryu does not want the other Quincy getting involved in this fight because he does not want Ganju, Chad, Orihime, and Ichigo to die. And he knows if they get involved, one of them could die. So he's like, no, I got this. You guys watch. I'll take care of them. I'll make them fall. I'll do it, And in that moment, and Lily kind of has this look on the sidelines like, why aren't you letting us fight? Why are you doing this all yourself? Why you got this chip on your shoulder? That's kind of weird. That's kind of suspicious. Like, he has that look. But we, the audience, know, reading this, we're like, okay, Uryu is trying to do all this by himself to keep them safe. He's putting on the appearance. He's the snake within the garden. He's the deceiver. He is the betrayer, but he's betraying the Quincy, not just Ichigo and the others. And so, we don't get that in the anime because instead, they opt to have Ichigo versus Uryu. And it is impressive. It is fine. And they give Uryu these extra abilities that they don't show in the manga. Like, they give him the ability to fire the arrows without using his bow, which is great. It's badass. I'm more of a character work person than the power scaling. That's never been why I watch Bleach. But then this part here, they added this really good moment where he had the blood vein protect him from the attack. And Uryu has a reaction to it, but this is what I'm talking about. If you add stuff in, you have to make it add to the context of the story. And if Uryu didn't know, because in the moment when he sees Ichigo have the blood vein, he has a visible reaction. He's like, oh, like if he didn't know Ichigo had Quincy blood in him, and you've shown this animation of him realizing that, then he's Uryu. He's one of the smartest people in the show. He should be asking questions, being like, you have Quincy blood. What did you do? And I was waiting for Ichigo to say something about it to Uryu, but he doesn't in the manga, so he didn't add it into the anime, because that could very well change the entire character of Uryu. So they opt not to add it, which is fine, but at the same time, you've given a scene where you've added a scene where that character should be asking these questions. And you're not letting them ask those questions, because then narratively it's going to change the character for later on in the story when they need to do something else. And it's just, it makes me frustrated for a different reason. I'm like, okay, well, I love all these extra scenes you've added, but now that you've added them, what are you going to do to not change Uryu's character? And the answer is we're not going to do much. It's going to be kind of frustrating. I do love, though, that, see, in this, Lily is the one that's suspicious. Because in the manga, Lily sees Uryu say, oh, I'll take them all on my own, and I'll make them fall. And Lily takes an action that we're going to talk about in a minute. But in the anime, Lily is not involved. They make it Hashvalt instead. Because they have this moment of them in the shadows, and Uryu's like, stop fooling around. He's like, and Uryu's like, you could have just killed me now. And he's like, I wouldn't do that. And he says, your hour, and Ishida cuts him off and says, I'm a Quincy. And he says, the world doesn't need soul reapers. And that's when he activates the Volstandig, which I'm a little torn about, to be quite honest. I felt as if the Volstandig, did we ever see Uryu's Volstandig? I feel like we saw it later on in the manga. I like the fisticuffs, and I like the boots, and I like his little leaf badge, his little Pokemon gym badge, and the wings are fine. They're very minimalist. Uryu's a minimalist, but I'm very torn, because I feel like this could have been shown later. Like, did it need to be shown now against Ichigo? I guess it's to show to Ichigo in this moment that he is committed to Yubak and that he's drank his blood and gained his shrift. It's to prove a point that he is indeed one of the Quincies. He's one of the Volstand, one of the Sternritters. Like, to show Ichigo, yes, I've betrayed you. But, again, I also feel like there's a part of me that knows that Uryu could see Hashvalt watching from a distance, and that's why he did this, to further prove. Because Ichigo was just about to say, like, but we're friends! And Uryu's like, damn it, I can't convince them I'm on their side if you tell them we're bosom buddies, Meanwhile, before we go back, that shot of Rukia looking at Ukitake says everything you need to know. That is just absolutely heartbreaking. I hate that shot so much. I love it, but I hate it at the same time. I'm like, oh my god. Meanwhile, Akon continues to be an icon. And so we get these extra scenes. And he's like, well, what should we do now? And so they talk about Ukitake, the power is fueled by his own life. He's like, so what are we going to do? This part is added. So, again, this part is added where Hashvalt is walking around. And he sees Uryu about to fight Ichigo in this new form. The power that he's gained from Yuvok. And do I believe that Uryu is doing a lot of this to try to make it seem like he is one with the Quincy? Well, yes. The Hashvalt can see right through it, of course. The problem is, with this scene, and Hashvalt being the one to see it all, the problem is that this chapter that we've not talked about, that's driving me crazy, kind of makes this part here not important. And so I'm like, because Hashvalt already knows from this chapter, and it's driving me crazy that we're not talking about it in the anime. So hopefully we do by the end of this season. We need to, desperately. But yeah, so he sees Uryu and he's like, are you gonna fight him? And so he's like, yes, this is our stern dick. This is our stern dick, as you can see. And he's like, this is the power I've gained. I do like the little arrows that Uryu sends out. They look like little syringes, which his dad's a doctor, so that's kind of fun. Look like little pin missiles. I don't know. I guess the pin missiles coming from Uryu, it doesn't feel like they're going all out. It just doesn't. Even Ichigo's holding back because they're friends. Uryu's holding back because they're friends. They're not going entirely all out. This part here with Orihime and all of them is completely anime original and added. But this is what I mean. Like, it's very, you can tell that it's anime original because if this were in context of the actual series, Lily would have taken his gun and gone, poo, 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 and that would have been it. Ganju would have been gone. But you can tell it's anime original because it doesn't quite fit their person. Like Lily's just standing there, like not doing a damn thing. And I feel like that's because in the manga, that's not what he's doing. He's off doing other things. So they try to compensate, but in compensating, it doesn't quite work like it should. So, yeah, like the stuff with Ganju, I thought the sand pit was pretty fun. I did like the sand pit, but then it didn't work because of P Park. And he's like, well played, I'll give you that. Was it well played? And then ask him being like, you guys made a fatal mistake. I'm like, did we? Did we really? Meanwhile, Yuvok's having this moment with the Soul King, and they are drawing this shit out. And so then we have Ichigo again versus Uryu. And I like the battle between them. And he's like, well, I don't need you to understand. And of course, they have Uryu, as he says that, with his glasses, like, hidden where you can't see what he's thinking. Of course they show that. But yeah. Now, this part here, they need to explain it in more detail. Because he's like, I'm fighting you because of the battle 1,000 years ago where the Quincy's were wiped out by Yamamoto. And they ended up killing my grandpa. And my grandpa said we could work together. And, you know, I've looked up to my grandpa my whole life. And so I viewed his, like, word as law. But they killed him, so now I'm changing my complete worldview. I'm just like, it feels as if the anime is truly trying to make us believe that Ichigo is that Uryu is a bad guy now. The anime is trying to convince us that Ishida is a bad guy now. The manga does something completely different. The manga makes you feel bad for Uryu because you know he has to go through with being the betrayer for reasons, and Uryu's got some kind of plan in the wings. We don't know it yet, but he feels bad having to betray his friends to make this plan go into action. We just don't know what it is yet. That's the vibe you get from the manga. The anime is trying to make you believe that Uryu is like, well, I did have this entire life philosophy, but then I read this book. And it completely changed how I felt. And it completely made me take all of our adventures and everything and just say, well, that didn't mean anything. And it's like, but Uryu, you know that it did, right? And Ichigo's like, what? That's bullshit. It was always us Quincy's whose blood was spilled. I think that I can't forgive the one who took everything from me. But then I'm like, okay, so that line there, I cannot forgive the one who took everything from me. Obviously, the one who took everything from you is Yuvok. Essentially, in the end, like, technically. So I feel like that's a line that proves that, because in that moment, Uryu's eyes, if you look at his glasses, they had been blinded. But the moment he says, I cannot forgive the one who took everything from me, then they become unclouded and you see his actual eyes. So you see the one eye, which is, again, eyes in the series, symbolism. So I feel like in that moment, Uryu is revealing himself, saying that he doesn't say the one who took everything from me, because it wasn't Yamamoto. Yamamoto didn't kill his grandfather. But it's like, who orchestrated all of this? Who brought all this to happen? And it was Yuvok. So I feel that Uryu reveals in that moment in the anime version what his actual thoughts are, but Ichigo is so caught up that he thinks that he's being targeted by Ishida, and then he doesn't quite get what's going on. Meanwhile, this anime original stuff is going on, and it is of no consequence because it doesn't matter. It doesn't happen in the manga, and it doesn't bear any consequence. Orihime and Chad and Ganju are fine. They're fine, I suppose. But yeah, they're fine. And what ends up happening is, actually, they don't really show us what happens to the others. They don't really show us what happens to them. In all actuality, what ends up actually happening is that Uryu makes them all fall, I guess. I guess that's what ends up happening. He makes them all fall. Here it's a little bit different. He's like, I'll prove my resolve with this. So, they talk about there being two battles. And that's one battle is to protect people and one battle is to protect your honor. And I think it's interesting that Uryu's like, where is your honor? And Ichigo's like, well, I'm protecting everyone, so I'm fighting that battle. I don't care about my battle for my honor. What about you? Is your battle for your honor and not protecting people? Because that's what it seems like. I don't know. And I did like this part here because Ichigo, he aims the Getsuga Junisho to where it goes past him, but it doesn't hurt him. Because again, he doesn't want to hurt his friend. And Uryu's like, you're naive. And I do think, look, I'm not saying that Ichigo is 100% in the right. I do think there is a point to make that Uryu is kind of being like, we're going to kill you and your friends. You might need to step up and not just spare people. I guess that's what he's trying to, like, Uryu's trying to be like, you might need to kill Yuvok because otherwise he's not gonna go quietly. He's not gonna become your friend like Grimmjow and develop a crush on you. He's not gonna be like Ulquiorra, and he's not as weak as Ulquiorra in comparison and just vanish. He's not gonna be like Aizen. It's not gonna be the same deal. And Uryu's trying to tell him, you need to step up and you need to try to kill Yuvok if you can. And you're not doing that, and that's a problem. And you can't be holding back. Like, he's trying to say that, you know? But Ichigo is convinced that because they are friends, that he's not going to be able to kill Uryu. And again, in that moment, he takes the one arrow. And it seemed like in the moment, Ichigo was going to, like, either... I don't think he was going to use Bankai. I think he was going to use his actual, like, Getsuga Junisho again. But then Uryu fires the arrow through him. Now, in the anime, it shows him taking a big chunk out of his side. Now again, Uryu is a good shot. He could have aimed to kill him. He could have. Did he? Would you argue that, yeah, taking that chunk out of his side could kill him? Sure. But if you were wanting to make sure, you would have aimed straight for the center, right? You would have aimed straight for the center. Now, in the manga, here's what happens in the manga. Whenever Uryu's like, all we have to do is make them all fall, we don't get that big battle with him and Ichigo. We don't get the spiel, the monologues, none of that. Instead, we see that Lily was going to shoot Ichigo as he was falling. Lily was going to seal the deal and kill him. And Uryu beats him to the punch and fires the arrow that I'm assuming cuts through his side like it does here. And in the manga, Lily looks back to Uryu with a very suspicious glare, like, why'd you take my shot? And Uryu's like, I know what you want to say. They can't possibly survive the fall, and even if they did, they have no means of getting back up here. However, if you kill them before you fall, such a premise would be unnecessary. That's what you believe for his is best for his majesty, correct? So Uryu in the manga basically says, like, oh, hey, I got what you were about to do, and I just went ahead and did it, so don't worry, it's cool, bro. Lily seems very suspicious regardless, but he lets it go. In the anime, he does that and looks over. And then everyone's standing up there, and they're like, and this speech is gave, and Valkyrie says, well done, newbie, we accept you as one of us. He says it here, and in the anime, Hoshfalt looks down on him like, you could have killed him. Hoshfalt looks suspicious instead of Lily in the anime versus the manga. Hoshfalt's like, I don't know if you're doing enough to prove you're one of us. I think you could have done more. I think you're being awfully suspicious, is what it seems like. Now, in the manga, I am mad that when Valkyrie says we accept you as one of us, I don't know if I'm mad at her or if I love it, but Uryu gives this little smirk like, I am one of you guys. Oh my god, I fooled you. Haha. But in the anime, he doesn't quite do that. He just gives this look like he's onto Hoshfalt being onto him. This will get there eventually, maybe, possibly it needs to. But yeah, and then we end the episode with Yuvok absorbing the Soul King, and he's about to become an omelet. So that's going to be fun next week. I feel very torn because there's a lot that I love that they've added with Uryu. I don't know how I feel about the Volstandig form getting revealed this early on. I don't know how I feel about that. And I just feel like with him and Ichigo, when you add all this content, you need to add more to clarify, but you can't add more to clarify because then if you add more to clarify, it's going to take away from the character development later on. So you kind of get stuck with this scenario. I don't know. Every bit of added content in episode 29, perfect, wonderful. Everything with Ukitake, that's exactly what I want to see. That's the added content that can work because it's a flashback. All the stuff with Ichigo and Uryu, it's okay. It's fine. I mean, I'm glad that a little bit more is added to give it more context, but at the same time, my mind is blown that they're making Uryu in the manga versus the anime so different. At least to me, it is very different. The context is very different. The emotions are very different. And I am curious to see where it goes to, though. But I'll be honest with you all. I was dreading this episode set because of the Ukitake stuff. I was dreading it. I was not expecting all the Uryu stuff, which was a pleasant surprise. And the Ukitake stuff made me feel so much more at ease. So anyway, I feel like there's some controversial stuff in this episode set, or at least stuff we need to talk about and break down. So I'm curious to hear your thoughts down below. But I have literally talked for almost an hour and a half about these 2 episodes, which was not what I thought was going to happen. But anyway, it's probably good that I didn't have comments to check this week because otherwise that might have been a longer video. Anyway, I'm excited to hear your thoughts down below. I will be checking comments before the next set, which will be episodes 31 and 32, or basically episodes 5 and 6 of Core 3. We're catching up. We're catching up, y'all. So anyway, I hope you all have a wonderful week. Please stay safe, take care, and yeah, I'll be back very soon with more Bleach.